You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is just, about a month?
It's very soon.
A month and a couple, 2 weeks away. So not too far from the LCMS 67th Convention. Joining us in studio this morning, the Reverend Dr. John Sias, Secretary of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, who lives, breathes, sleeps, eats convention for the entire year.
Only occasionally sleeps.
That's true. You probably haven't gotten much sleep lately.
Right.
Floor committees just met a little over a week ago.
Right.
And today's business is now available. What is today's business for those who are not familiar, who have never conventionalized before?
It contains the boiled down goods that the floor committees have produced. 12 floor committees this time. We're here in St. Louis, as you said, just a little over a week ago. Spent a weekend here, sequestered at the International Center, and boiled down about 600 pages of Convention Workbook, all the material and the reports and overtures that came in, 284 total overtures this time. Boiled those down to about 178 pages of today's business, which contains the resolutions the floor committees have proposed, all the actions that they recommend to the convention based on their reading of all that material business suggested. And that's about 97 regular overtures, 6 decline overtures, and then 3 omnibus overtures that deal with broader categories of things. So a pretty intense weekend, and if you're into boiling things down, that's a pretty good reduction rate to go from 600 pages down to 178. A lot more manageable for the convention to look at.
Yeah, that is a lot of work, a lot of brain power happened in this building.
It is a lot of effort, and the floor committees, of course, are made up of delegates, both voting and advisory representatives from the convention. They're appointed by the president. We took some special care to find secretaries. We've got to find good floor committee secretaries, and we did that this time. And spent a lot of effort in our editorial staff, too, today's business staff, to get things done quickly. I don't know if the records are kept on this, but we got the today's business out to the internet less than 72 hours after the floor committee weekend was over. So that I thought was pretty good.
I was impressed when I got the email that said today's business is out. I was like, wait, this just happened. You guys are the magical over there.
The timing is so short. As you said, convention starts July 20th in Tampa, and here this is June 10th already, and it's important for folks to get that into their hands and or at least into their eyes on the internet and have a look at it and get their feedback to the floor committee chairmen who are listed in there, so that their input can be incorporated in the floor committee's work.
Yeah. Can you give us a sneak peek of some of the resolutions or some things that may be of special note that people should look at?
Oh, wow. I mean, there's
out of the 178 pages.
You didn't memorize all of today's business?
Well, you can imagine a lot of the things that are important to the synod, the things that have been kind of noted in the reporter and noted in the public press during the triennium, make an appearance there. A lot of it is managing the institutions that our synod has built together. So our colleges and universities, the Concordia system, and the seminaries. Obviously these are difficult times for higher education in America in general, and then especially for institutions that have a churchly purpose, where we're encountering a lot of cultural resistance now, which is kind of a new thing. And so you'll see some material dealing with those. Synod trying to find a way together with its institutions to move forward and be strong and confess Christ, but also to have viable institutions. A lot of stuff organizing the details of our life together, people proposing different things to shift, election details a little bit and tweak things as time goes on. We find that nothing is optimal, and all these human rules can be tweaked a bit. So there's some of that there. And, of course, some theological material. We've had some discussion of creation in the Synod the last few years, and so that's featured there. And a few of the other topics that sometimes come up about parish life and how we best administer the church and carry out doctrine and practice, teach the doctrine and carry out the practice for God's people. So a lot of thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah.
Elections are happening as well. Now, the election of president happens prior to convention, and then other officers are elected at convention. Is that correct?
Right, yeah. Since the changes at the 2010 convention, the president of the Synod has been elected 4 weeks prior to the start of the convention. And so that'll take place, that election is open June 22nd to June 25th. And it's an electronic ballot. Voters for the congregations and parishes of the Synod are already registered, and they're receiving email as we speak, and also physical mail with their voting credentials and instructions, the final instructions to prepare them to cast that vote. Then all the other positions are elected, as you said, at the convention.
Is there any influence? That's probably a terrible word when talking about elections.
We try to avoid that one.
Anything that congregations can still discuss and suggest for the elections that happen at convention, or is that not really a thing? I've never been through this. I'm just asking.
Well, sure. Yeah, the other office. Well, of course, for the election of the president, the reporter and the witness have carried. Kind of Q&As with the three candidates. Mm-hmm. The three top vote getters in the nomination ballot are the candidates for president. And so there's some material there for congregations to discuss with their voters. Have a look at that and see how they feel about the candidates. But that ballot is fixed at those three. The remaining offices, other than the vice presidents, where the ballots are fixed or will be fixed, it's still possible to have floor nominations. The bulk of the slates are set by the Committee for Convention Nominations, which met all the way back in January. And a book that came out with the workbook, the biographical synopses and statements of nominees, long name, short book. It has bios, blessedly short book compared to the workbook. It has bios for all the candidates, and so the congregations and circuits can have a look at what's available there, and if they have better suggestions, they can prepare to submit floor nominations at the convention if they like.
Yeah. Why is it important for congregations to pay attention to this? It's a lot of pages and it's a lot of people and things, but this is important stuff for our congregations.
Well, absolutely, yeah. The Synod fundamentally is about congregations. It's formed by the congregations, and what it does is for and on behalf of the congregations. And it's something like if you own property somewhere, and some of the listeners may own a little farmland somewhere, or in Montana, where I was from, people owned their land and leased it out. And, if you let land lay and don't pay any attention to it as an owner, who knows what the lessees are doing on it, or who knows what the noxious weeds might be doing by the time you get back. In Montana, that was a big deal. Get you in trouble with the local authorities. But, so in the same way, the congregations are in a real sense the owners of the Synod. And these convention processes are the orderly way in which they come together and make decisions about the things that they really own together, and make sure that they're being managed for the best benefit of the ministry in their midst and the ministry that the Synod was formed to extend out into the world. So without their input, financial and also, and more importantly, I think this guiding input of the convention, the Synod will schwaffle a bit, and we don't need that. We've got good purposes for the congregations, their schools, their people, their missions, and getting them all involved is the way to keep the Synod strong and to keep us all talking together about where we're going, walking together as a Synod. That's what the word is about.
I was just going to ask, but that's like a 2-hour program. What is Synod?
What is Synod?
Oh, boy.
But that's a 2-hour special. So
there you go.
I won't take you there because we have about a minute
coffee
left.
That'd be a lot of coffee.
Where to follow the news of what's going on with convention?
Well, lcms.org/convention. Go online there, and you can get lost in rabbit tunnels of a whole bunch of pages of information. You can also download the workbook, the biographical synopses, Now Today's Business, and we'll be continuing to update information there as a presidential election rolls forward, and then as all the other pieces fall into place for the convention in Tampa. And there'll, of course, be live coverage and the whole bit, when that gets underway. It's kind of fun. Before I came here, I'd sit there in the parish, or before I wound up going to conventions, and keep an eye on that feed and enjoy seeing what the Synod was up to.
Absolutely. And our new staff, Kip Allen, will be there as well, reporting from the convention and gathering those stories. And there'll also be a live stream of the convention as well. All that good stuff. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
God bless.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.